Yo, I want to talk about ego and how I try right now to build a healthy ego without getting rid of it or suppressing it. And uh, I feel like recently I really like in the gameplay, like in the league matches especially, like I often speak my mind and I don't feel it's that bad, but sometimes I feel like it may feel toxic to people when they watch it. And I kind of feel bad for that on one side. On the other side, it's part of the process for me because, like, there in the Eastern, like, teachings and so on, like, that I adapted a little bit because I was into meditation and so on, like, still am kind of, like, interested in this kind of things. The ego was always something bad from what I like learned, and it's just in the way basically to reach a higher self, a more pure version of yourself. And honestly, it's not wrong if you like, you know, put away the ego. You can access a higher state of mind and have a higher consciousness or whatever. It works, yes. But the thing is, since I like started to just do a little bit more in like trying to get better at games, like making YouTube content and so on, I realized, or kind of, it was like I felt like ego can be bad, but it's there for a reason. Like everything in life is there for a reason, and honestly, like ego, I feel like it's like protecting you, trying to protect you, like, and like keeping you kind of moving in life, like, and of course, like, it's kind of hard to have a healthy ego, and it works when you put away the ego, but it's just a temporary fix because the ego is still a part of you. It doesn't go away, first. And secondly, like, since it's a part of you, like, why get rid of it? You know? Like, if your hand has a problem, like, you always, when you see people, you slap people with your right hand, you will not get rid of your hand. You just fix the problem that makes you slap people in the face and just like make your hand do handshakes with people or something, like do something nice. And I view this the same way with the ego. If your ego is like, I don't know, like, yeah, ego-ish, whatever, whatever the ego is, like toxic, whatever. It's like, if you suppress it, it cannot work on it. And recently, I just put my ego off the leash and just wanted to see what my ego does, where it is, you know, where I am and where my ego is. And my ego is kind of like, it's necessary for the things I do, I feel like, to really like keep myself motivated, keep myself moving, because without having an ego, why should I do anything? Honestly, I, I, if I, that's my problem. Like, if I don't have an ego, I don't need to do anything. Like, I wouldn't be motivated to do hard stuff or stuff that is like uncomfortable, like playing ranked. Like, for me, it's uncomfortable to play ranked. And I mean, it's kind of fun, but still, it's an uncomfortable thing in itself. I feel like maybe, like, more or less, like, it's not that bad. It's just like you need to motivate yourself to play it, otherwise you won't. That makes sense. And I feel like with a healthy ego, there comes, I don't know, boundaries and blah blah blah. And I have a hard time, like, how much, like, of the negative has to be negative. Because on the one hand, I don't want to, like, become negative when there's something negative happens. On the other side, I don't want to be that guy that just, I don't know, like, hey guys, everything's fine. So, unicorns and rainbows. Maybe one day I will be that guy, whatever. But I don't know if that's the way, honestly, because I feel like I don't know if I can, if it's humanly possible to convert everything that's negative into positivity. And especially when you're in a game, you view things differently, like more from an emotional standpoint than when you rewatch it or rethink of the game. You see it in a different level. Like, in game, you're seeing it more on an emotional level, and out of game, you see it more on an objective level, because you are not involved. Like, when you're involved with another person in a quarrel or something, a dispute, you can't be as objective as if you would stand beside it and watch it. Because you're involved. You're in there. Your head's sticking in the sand, man. Get out of here! Get out of the sand. Yeah, and the thing is, I really try. I don't know. I want, like, build a really healthy ego, and I don't know if it's necessary to, I don't know, like, transform this negative stuff that happens sometimes in these games, matches, real life stuff, whatever. Like, on the one hand, if you feel like everything's, I don't know, going downhill, whatever, you're depressed, it feels ingenuine to say everything's fine. But on the other hand, what if you can, like, accept these emotions and just transform them somehow with your ego healthy and intact, without having to, like, separate from something. And I try to figure out how this is possible, if it's possible, because I'm kind of experimenting there. I feel like there's some things, references and so on, how to build a healthy ego, but I still feel like I'm experimenting there because I never really thought about these things, because I never really, like, bothered with the ego itself, to be honest. Because I always subconsciously thought it was something bad, because it makes you just, like, yeah, it's egoistic, it's, you know, it's self, it's you only think of yourself and blah blah blah. But it's still important, and I always find it interesting that oftentimes when something is established, like letting go of expectations of ego and so on, like that it may not be the whole truth to it. Like many things that most people at a certain point believe may not be the whole thing. And that's what I find so interesting. And that's why, I don't know, it's very fascinating how you always seem to need to rethink something that you either didn't think much about because you, I don't know, didn't have to bother about it, or you just had a completely wrong view of the thing, or a slightly wrong view that you thought you already had. Whatever. It's very interesting, and honestly, like, I feel like some people, like, will really think I'm, I don't know, delusional, toxic, or something. I don't try to be, even when I let my ego kind of off the leash. I don't try to be like mean or something. I'm just sometimes really honest about things how I feel they are, and that can come over like as mean and toxic, to be honest. But it isn't meant that way, and I don't feel like I am like I try to like be mean or something. I don't have the feeling, honestly. I don't really feel like I have to judge myself for expressing what I feel. I don't know, like I feel like there is room for improvement still. And I'm quite happy, although like it may not be perfect and not everybody like what I say. I'm content with how it is now, to be honest. Like I like the state of my ego right now, to be honest. I don't feel like it's a like immature ego. I just feel like maybe I can figure out some more stuff that can make me maybe transform, especially these negative feelings when stuff happens, like I get annoyed by a player's attitude, or when something bad happens, when my teammates don't want to rotate, whatever, and I get really mad. And and yeah, honestly, I'm excited if I can like find a way to even improve on that and make my ego like better deal with that stuff, because I feel like it would improve, maybe improve even my performance. Like I feel like I'm less tilted than I was years ago, but still I feel like I'm a little bit tilted when I'm getting annoyed and so on, like I think. And yeah, maybe like if I can transform these negative emotions without having to suppress them, that's the big point, then I think it would improve like my quality of life, effectively, the enjoyment of playing these games, and my performance, I think. I don't know about the learning, because the learning in game would improve, but out of game and maybe too a little bit, but out of game you can be more objective, so afterward you don't need to do that much to transform these emotions, because you can view things more objectively, because you're not involved and have to perform there. But yeah, that's very very interesting topic, and I feel like kind of excited if I can manage somehow to transform these negative things into let's say, more manageable things without like tearing down my boundaries of acceptance. Like when someone, I don't know, behaves like a douchebag or something, like I don't want to deny myself to stay positive, honestly, because it would be dishonest and just lying to yourself, like pretending to be someone you're not, and that's not what I want, to be honest. And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, and I feel like many people can benefit from building a healthy ego without having to suppress their emotions, because if you suppress your emotions, they will come out eventually. Like it's like this ego, when you let it go, like you are in a higher state of mind because you don't have the ego like going in between you if it's not that healthy. But on the other hand, it doesn't fix your problem. The ego is the same way, and the ego will come back. And because the problem is not fixed, you will need to fix it again and again and again by removing the ego, and again and again and again, and it will come back and back and back. And the only solution I see is building a healthy ego. But because the ego, as long as you're alive and have something to do in this world, it will come back. I'm pretty sure. And for me, the solution is just building a healthy ego that is healthy, and you don't have to worry about it. Because, yeah, it's not a problem anymore. And you can, like, reach higher consciousness even with an ego. I'm pretty sure. But yeah. Yeah, I'll dive further in the topic, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that are interested in this. That's right now on my mind, and that's why I sometimes like really say how I feel. And also when I feel negatively about something, that's because right now I really try to see where my ego is and what it does, and maybe I find a way to get even, I don't know, like help my ego getting even better than it is. Whatever. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing, honestly. All the best.